The accessibility strategy of the Prado Museum and Complutense University's collections and museums is a short talk given by the three research coordinators of Accessible Complutense Museums project, who are Irene González Fernando, Tamara Bueno Doral, and Rosaura Navajas Seco, in collaboration with the academic secretary of the network MusAccess, who is Ángel Pazos López. This virtual lightning talk compares two research projects developed by a Spanish team. Both of them are focused on applying innovative museographic approaches in order to get more accessible museums. The first project, which is developed by the network MusAccess, is focused on Prado Museum, and it is oriented towards three specific groups of vulnerable people: blind people, deaf people, and prisoner people. The second project, which is developed by an interdisciplinary team coming from education, communication, psychology, history, and art history research fields, is focused on Complutense University collections and museums. Its accessibility strategy is also oriented towards people set under exclusion risk, having worked with autistic people and with refugees coming from China, Ukraine, Colombia, Venezuela, Palestine, and Syria. Both projects look for the principle of universal accessibility, and their frame is the European philosophy of the culture for all. Nevertheless, there are many differences between the two projects. The project led by MusAccess makes research for one of the most important and consolidated museums in Spain. In fact, the Prado Museum is the institution where the royalist art collection is preserved. It is a public national museum since 1819. Thus, it accumulates a solid experience of almost 200 years old. Moreover, at the beginning of the 21st century, it was refurbished, and its room increased decisively, making it possible a new museographic presentation. Therefore, many of their physical barriers have been eliminated. There is braille transcription for the essential information concerning the facilities of the building, and there are some sign guides for deaf people. Moreover, its economical investment on educational programs and on accessibility strategies makes it possible programs such as Hoy Toca el Prado. Today you can touch the Prado, where all the public could have a touching experience in front of certain works of art. The network MusAccess, taking into account this background, has led some important actions, like the design of a guided visit adapted for blind and deaf people, or the organization of a congress about the sensorial experiences of the collection, entitled El Museo del Prado a través de los cinco sentidos, the Prado Museum through the five senses. Meanwhile, the project focused on the Complutense University museums and collection is much more ambitious and consequently much more difficult to achieve. The Complutense University is one of the oldest academic institutions of Spain, with more than 500 years all of history. Thus, it has a complete scientific and artistic collection. However, this collection is divided and scattered, lacking a building where all the objects could be explored and experienced. In addition, there are certain obstacles for improving a general accessibility strategy. Non-adapted facilities with lots of physical barriers, lack of a curator career inside the university staff, technical difficulties for preserving, restoring, and exhibiting some of the most fragile artifacts, like the herbaria and the entomological collection, short budget for daily running of the museums, and etc. For that reason, our work with refugees and autistic people coming to the university and participating in a future design of a universal accessible museum is really inspiring. In fact, the experience with autistic people taking part of a collaborative workshop together with the students of advertising open a window of new possibilities, and it will be the topic of a paper submitted for the next issue of the International Journal of the Inclusive Museums.